working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Judith Gamera delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region on today's headlines. The Philippines was probing on Tuesday its potential first case of the SARS-like virus that has infected hundreds in China, this according to health authorities. A desolate landscape of ash, dunes and bare trees left by the eruption of the Philippines' Taal volcano lay in contrast with a few signs of life at ground zero of the disaster on Tuesday. And ASEAN launched the 2020 Year of ASEAN Identity by unveiling the winning logo of the logo design competition for the youths at the ASEAN Secretariat. The health authorities said the Philippines was probing on Tuesday its potential first case of the SARS-like virus that has infected hundreds in China. A 5-year-old child arrived in the Philippines on January 12 from the central Chinese city of Wuhan, where the disease was discovered and has been hospitalized since with flu symptoms. While the child tested positive for a virus, the authorities in Manila say they are not sure if it is the same one that has killed 4 people in China and sickened people in 3 other Asian countries. The child is considered a person under investigation, Philippine Health Secretary Francisco Duque told a press briefing in Manila. Samples from the child were sent to a lab in Australia for further testing and authorities are awaiting the results, he added. The child was already showing symptoms like fever, throat irritation and cough before arriving in the central city of Cebu, with a parent, the health department said. Meanwhile, the vice chairman of the National Health Commission of China, Li Bin, warns the SARS-like virus could mutate as he gives the latest figures and updates on the coronavirus, which has now spread internationally. Take a look.
截止1月21日24时，我委收到国内13个省区市累计报告新型冠状病毒感染的肺炎确诊病例440例，报告死亡病例累计9例，新增3例，全部为湖北病例。报告新增冠状病毒感染的肺炎确诊病例149例，收到日本通报确诊病例1例，泰国通报确诊病例3例，韩国通报确诊病例1例。目前追踪到的密切接触者2197人，已解除医学观察765人，尚有1394人正在接受医学观察。
A desolate landscape of ash dunes and bare trees left by the eruption of the Philippines' Taal volcano lay in contrast with a few signs of life at ground zero of the disaster on Tuesday. The island site was buried by massive deposits of ash when Taal erupted last week and remains under a mandatory evacuation order due to a feared bigger blast. Yet about a dozen white cows milled near dust-blanketed homes and several brightly colored boats were docked at the shore on Tuesday, according to an AFP reporter taken on a rare military flight around the area. Thin plumes of steam rose from the crater. The authorities have said any outward signs of an imminent eruption have been weak over the past several days. But scientists warn the volcano is still at risk of a major blast, and more than 110,000 people have taken refuge in shelters away from danger. At least 3,000 who lived on the island were ordered out. though many have made trips back to rescue livestock or fetch items from their homes. Many families have previously offered services catering to the tourists who visited the volcano, a popular attraction in the Philippines despite the risk of eruption. The government has said it is now working on a plan to permanently relocate them and turn the island into what officials have called a no man's land. Fewer quakes, fewer sulfur dioxide emissions, and volcanic earthquakes were recorded in Taal for the past 24 hours on Wednesday, January 22, 2019. Rather, but it remains on alert level 4. Hazardous explosive eruption is possible within hours to days, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, reported on Wednesday. From 5 a.m. Tuesday until 6 a.m. Wednesday, PHIVOLCS recorded an average of 153 tons per day of sulfur dioxide emission, notably lower compared to the 344 tons per day average emission it recorded from 5 a.m. of January 21st. PHIVOLCS Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division Chief Mariton Bornas, however, said they could not say the volcano would no longer erupt because of this. There were sulfur dioxide emissions measurements that went beyond 5,000 average tons per day, Bornas said, adding that the shallow magma causes the sulfur dioxide emission to fluctuate. PHIVOLCS Director Renato Solidum earlier said that higher sulfur dioxide emission signifies that magma is going up, and that the more gas present means there is more magma. Albay Representative Joey Salcedo on Tuesday filed a measure seeking to create the Taal Commission as the primary agency of the national government for relief and rehabilitation efforts toward the comprehensive reconstruction of Taal eruption vulnerable areas. The bill seeks an appropriation of 100 billion pesos for the creation of the Taal Commission. Under the bill, the proposed Taal Commission shall formulate plans, programs, and projects for the relief, rehabilitation, resettlement, and livelihood services, as well as infrastructure development in the affected areas. The Commission shall be responsible for tapping the resources of the private sector to encourage its cooperation in implementing the Philippine government's reconstruction strategy. It shall also raise and mobilize funds, especially grants and deeply concessional loans, to bankroll reconstruction.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Abu Sayyaf militants from the Philippines seized 5 Indonesian fishermen from a vessel off eastern Borneo, Jakarta. The officials said Tuesday, the latest in a series of abductions in the area. Indonesia's foreign ministry said it was working closely with Malaysian and Philippines authorities to rescue the crew while urging other fishermen to avoid the area. 8 crew members were aboard the vessel when it was boarded by the militants, who have distant links to the Islamic State organization. The 3 were allowed to go free. Abu Sayyaf is a group of self-proclaimed Islamic militants based in the southern Philippines who have engaged in bombings as well as kidnappings of Western tourists and missionaries for ransom since the early 1990s. In recent years, the group has also preyed on cargo ships, tugboats, and fishing vessels in poorly policed waters of the region near the sea borders with Malaysia and Indonesia. Meanwhile, Boeing on Tuesday officially pushed back the time frame for the 737 MAX to return to the skies, sending shares of plunging and overshadowing an earlier announcement of a first flight of the delayed 777-7X plane. Boeing said it is now targeting the return of the grounded MAX during mid-2020. The latest delay in the schedule, the troubled jet, which has been grounded since March following 2 deadly crashes. Boeing shares finished at $313.37, down 3.3%, after the New York Stock Exchange earlier halted trading for around 40 minutes. The company is in the process of raising at least $10 billion from Wall Street banks to cover costs connected to the MAX crisis, bank sources said Monday. Boeing has told customers and suppliers that they are currently estimating that the ungrounding of the 737 MAX will begin during mid-2020, the company said in a statement. That marked a shift from Boeing's most recent stance on its top-selling aircraft when it eliminated a target date entirely after repeatedly failing to keep to timetables in 2019. But even the vague mid-2020 target is later than some analysts had expected, and it probably represents a best-case scenario that could again be pushed back. The Federal Aviation Administration had publicly criticized Boeing for continually touting its aggressive time frame in public for the MAX's return, suggesting the target was a tool for pressuring the agency into approving the plane more quickly. On Tuesday, an FAA spokesman reiterated that it has set no time frame for the MAX's certification. In other news, ASEAN launched the 2020 Year of ASEAN Identity by unveiling the winning logo of the logo design competition for the youths at the ASEAN Secretariat. The competition, launched in September 2019 with the support of the German Agency for International Cooperation, or the GIZ, attracted 1,378 submissions from the youth across the ASEAN member states. The Deputy Secretary General for ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community, Kung Foak, in his welcome remarks said the designation of 2020 as the Year of ASEAN Identity aims to create a greater public awareness among ASEAN citizens, especially the youth, on ASEAN and its activities and developments, affirming Germany's support for ASEAN identity building. Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to the Republic of Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and ASEAN, Peter Skoof, said they are very proud to be part of the ASEAN 2020 Year of ASEAN Identity. Germany is committed to helping ASEAN in various important areas for the organization and its citizens, and he looks forward to an excellent and friendly relationship in the coming years and beyond. The presentations of the top 3 winners who shared their inspirations behind the design of their logos took place after the unveiling of the winning logo. An exhibition showcasing the winning designs and other submissions was held. To create greater conversations on the efforts to foster ASEAN identity, an open discussion on identity building and awareness raising on ASEAN was also convened. Several events will be held this year to celebrate the 2020 year of ASEAN identity, including the ASEAN Identity Symposium. More details will be disseminated through ASEAN's official website and various media channels. The Philippines has taken the initial step towards the establishment of diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Bhutan, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, confirmed Tuesday. The Philippines has been keen to establish diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Bhutan and has indicated his interest for some time, the DFA told the Philippine News Agency. Last December, DFA Assistant Secretary Maynardo Montealegre called on Bhutan Foreign Minister Tandi Dorji and presented a letter from Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. conveying the country's desire to establish diplomatic relations with Bhutan. And I quote, "The establishment of diplomatic relations is a process that entails sustained contacts and discussions between both sides. The recent mission of the Department of Foreign Affairs to Thimphu is an important and significant step in moving forward this priority undertaking," it said in its statement. While the two nations have never established diplomatic ties, Manila maintains warm relations with Thimphu as the two engaged in significant practical and technical cooperation over the past few years. In the past, the DFA said the Philippines has already welcomed a number of Bhutanese officials on missions for training or to exchange best practices. Formal relations between the Philippines and Bhutan can only promote further amity, goodwill, and cooperation between two countries with great affinity and much to learn from each other, not only as Asian neighbors but also as nations that rank high in happiness indices, it noted. Bhutan, dubbed as the happiest place on earth, has been lauded by Manila in the past for its gross national happiness index, a concept which measures the South Asian country's progress by giving equal importance to non-economic aspects of well-being. Bhutan became a member of the United Nations in 1971. To date, it maintains diplomatic relations with only 53 countries. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Judith Gamera, and I'm 1 with 25.